Hey guys, welcome back to the Silver Motion. Today we'll be finally talking about my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. But before we get to it, a word from our sponsor.
It is silver. It is emotion. The Silver Motion.
So just like I did in my last Quentin Tarantino movie video, I want to give a quick warning and let you guys know that, there's going to be quite a bit of blood and some tough imagery. There's also going to be some foul language, possibly. The channel isn't monetized yet, so, we can take advantage of that and, just be as free as we want to be within, but keeping it respectful, of course. So here we go. The first thing that I would like to talk about, it's something a bit more personal, something more about me. If you want to skip ahead and just get to the meat and potatoes of the video, I'll make sure to have a timestamp so that you guys can skip this intro. This is just mainly for me to kind of put you in situation and let you know one of the many reasons why I love this movie so much. Ever since I can remember, I've always had a fascination for the English language. Since I was a little kid, my favorite bands, my favorite artists, my favorite songs, they were in English. And I would just try to sing along and make up the words, just imitating the phonetics of how the words sounded. I was probably just saying nothing really, but what I'm trying to say is I fell in love with the language before I even knew what it meant, before I even knew how to understand it. I'm talking about this because I believe Quentin Tarantino has a gift, and the gift is to take everything that I love about the English language and exaggerates it. One of the many things that I love about the English language is the different accents and ways of speaking that people have. My day job actually allows me to meet a lot of new people every day. I drive to a lot of different places, certainly close to where I live, which is in the Midwest. And lucky for me, I live in a place in which I might stop at a gas station and there's a couple guys that sound like freaking Samuel L. Jackson and Denzel Washington are having a conversation while having a coffee. Then I walk into the next place and people sound like like a weatherman, and then I drive 30 minutes south and all of a sudden everybody's got this southern draw, I live in this cool place in which many different cultures, many different accents and just ways of speaking come together. And so yeah, it's like I live in this cultural mix that a lot of times I don't even get to appreciate because life moves so freaking fast that, as they say, you don't get to smell the roses, So I don't know. I was just thinking about it the other day, and I'm like, dude, you live in this place where, there's a lot of different accents that come together, and it's awesome. I'm not only talking about American-speaking people. I'm also talking about, people from other countries that come here and have different accents. I just have this whole fascination for the English language as a whole, and for the many ways of speaking in English. As I mentioned earlier, Quentin Tarantino has this gift to take all that and exaggerates it. For example,
Mr. Bennett, if you are the businessman I've been led to believe you to be, I have 5,000 things I might say that could change your mind. Well, come on inside and get yourself something cool to drink.
it's almost like he makes you want to be able to have a conversation like people do in his movies. That's his gift. It's like nobody talks like that. Nobody has the gift of just making a conversation flow that way. But when you're watching a Tarantino movie, especially this one with all the awesome accents that you hear in this movie, it really makes you want to be like, man, I just want to talk like that, but unfortunately we live in reality and those things don't happen. Now, I would like to give a shout out to one of our new subscribers, Daryl Jackson. He mentioned in the comments of my past video my video about Quentin Tarantino movies from worst to best, he made a comment pointing out the fact that Quentin Tarantino has this gift of assembling a great cast. How to choose the right actor for the right job. And I thought that was a great point that he made, and that's kind of what I want from you guys. Just like start a conversation. Let me know your thoughts. Like when I say let me know your thoughts, I'm interested for real. Like I'm curious. I want to know what you guys think about this, because if you're watching this video, it's probably because you love movies also. So if you have any thoughts that come to mind or any ideas for future videos, leave them in the comments. I would love to read those. But to elaborate a little bit further on Daryl's point that he made, I would like to say that not only Tarantino is able to put together an incredible cast, he's also able to take a superstar, like I'm talking about an A-list actor, make them disappear in front of your eyes, which is, I think that's even a greater gift. Because a lot of times, directors will get an actor, and it's almost like, you're watching the actor, and you can almost not unsee that he is that actor, But when Tarantino takes someone like Leonardo DiCaprio or someone like Jamie Foxx or someone like Brad Pitt, it doesn't matter who it is. They immerse themselves so much in the character, and they sacrifice so much for the good of the movie. Now, I would like to get to what I believe is what I care about the most in movies. If you've watched some of my videos by now, you can probably tell I fixate more on the emotions a movie is able to convey than the technical style of it. For several reasons, but to make it simple, I do not know how many things work, when it comes to films, but I do know how they make me feel. And I try to do my best to explain those feelings here for you guys. So let's get to that. But before we get a bit serious, let me be very clear. At times, this movie is extremely funny.
Not stumbling around in the dark. State your business or prepare to get winged. Calm yourselves, gentlemen. See fucking shit out of this thing. We ready or what? Oh, hold on, I'm fucking with my oh shit. Just made it worse. Who made this goddamn shit? Willard's wife. You make your own goddamn match. Look, nobody's saying they don't appreciate what Jenny did. Well, if all I had to do was cut a hole in a bag, I could have cut it better than this. What about you, Robert? Can you see? Not too good. I mean, if I don't move my head, I can see you pretty good, more or less. But when I start riding, the bag's moving all over, and I'm riding blind. I just made mine worse. Anybody bring any extra bags? No, nobody brought an extra bag.
Now, let's talk about Django. What are some of the words that come to mind when I think of Django? The first one is brave. That one doesn't need much explanation. Genius definitely comes to mind. His ability to quickly adapt to his environment and not only learn new skills, but master them also. Just watch him learning how to shoot, learning how to act, and how he stays in character. In fact, there is only one environment Django can adapt to, and that is slavery. That he can do. He can live that way. Number one, because nobody should ever have to. And number two, because he himself is too much to stay in such position. It's like keeping a volcano from erupting. At some point, the shit's gonna pop. Once he embraces his journey with Dr. Schultz, another word comes to mind, and that is superhero. When Django chooses those clothes, he's not only showing that he isn't afraid to draw attention to himself, he's also putting on his first superhero costume. I guess it could be debated that he is more an anti-hero, since he will kill almost anyone as long as he gets to save his wife, Broomhilda. We will get to Kerry Washington and her magical portrayal of Broomhilda in a moment. But to get to her, we first need to talk about Christoph Waltz and his portrayal of Dr. King Schultz. I see Dr. Schultz as the connection between we, the audience, and the movie itself. Let me explain. We get to see the journey of a man who is originally from Germany and is currently working in the US as a bounty hunter. And he knows about slavery. He is well aware of it. He sees it in his day-to-day life, and it is obvious right away that this guy does not believe in slavery and finds it completely preposterous, which it is. But he lives in a world much more different than ours, and in that world, slavery existed whether you liked it or not. What I love about Dr. Schultz's journey through this movie is that we get to see him realize what slavery truly is, and we as the audience get to learn a few things also along the way with him. Many people might have gone into watching this movie thinking they know about slavery and the atrocities of slavery, and believing that we have the slightest idea of what it is. Dr. Schultz really learns about slavery through this movie instead of thinking that he knows. I think the first instance in which Dr. Schultz starts to notice how fucked up this is when Django reveals his back. Then you can also see him learning about Django's wife, the fact that he's got a wife and he cannot get to her because she is trapped in some piece of shit plantation. Now, the moment we truly see Dr. Schultz's brain chemistry change is during the Mandingo fight, which is when you can see in his face that he's just thinking, what the fuck is going on here? How can anyone just stand here and watch these poor dudes literally kill each other? And just like that, we get to see a bounty hunter who kills for a living be in pure shock seeing someone getting killed in front of them. Now, the moral nature of Dr. Schultz's job as a bounty hunter, I think it's a conversation for a different day, but from his perspective, in my opinion, he's just, collecting the corpses of really bad people and getting paid for it. That wouldn't be the last time that we see this character grow and learn and be shocked by what he encounters in his journey. And we see how his hatred grows. His hatred for the system that allows for something like this to happen. Now, when he finally meets Candy, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and embarks in this caravan of horrors through Mississippi, in which they find a poor guy called D'Artagnan, who was a slave who had escaped because he couldn't psychologically take it anymore. He couldn't fight anymore. He couldn't live that way anymore because he's a human being. Because that's not, what he was born to do. He wasn't born to kill other dudes because he's big and strong. But I truly love how Tarantino films this whole sequence and how he frames D'Artagnan, making this tall, big, strong man seem completely tiny and powerless. Now, it is in this moment that Dr. Schultz breaks character and pretty much says, hey, I'll pay for the man's life. I will pay to save him right now. To which Django replies, no, we ain't paying anything for that guy. Because Django doesn't break character. He's there for one single mission, and that is to save his wife. That is all he cares about, and he's gone through enough bullshit in his life to lose the chance to save her no matter what. No matter who dies, including this poor gentleman who is about to get ripped apart by dogs. That's just another example that makes Dr. Schultz realize how incredibly messed up slavery really is. Because before that, he was probably like, yeah, they got slaves. I see them walking around in chains. I see them working, It's something he didn't agree with, but something that was part of his life. Just like the many horrible things constantly happening today in our day-to-day lives that absolutely, we absolutely despise them, but they are unfortunately part of the system. So, we have to deal with them. But yeah, the whole journey teaches him and teaches us, the audience, about the many horrors of slavery and how incredibly messed up that shit was. This is why, when the time comes and Candy tells him he must shake his hand to solidify the deal, he simply couldn't. He couldn't shake the man's hand on principle because he hated him and everything he represented so freaking much that he would rather die. He was willing to die to not shake this man's hand. So yeah, the main point that I'm trying to make is that this movie is pure genius when it comes to how well it makes you understand and feel that very dark part of our history. Something very much worth mentioning is when Dr. Schultz finally meets Broomhilda and he sees her. Because you gotta understand, he's been with Django for a long time now. It's been months and months. And of course, Django has been talking about his wife. And when you talk about the love of your life, you're going to talk about them from your perspective and through love goggles and how you see them. And as a matter of fact, there are a couple moments in which we get to see Broomhilda through Django's eyes. When he thinks about her, we don't see her in chains. We don't see her in slave clothing. He sees her as this angel, as this princess. And when Dr. Schultz finally sees her and meets her in person, he can't help himself but to say, how beautiful you are. As in, oh my God, you are gorgeous, the stories were true. Django didn't exaggerate one bit. You are everything he said and more. The journey has been worth it, and I am so happy to be here to help Django save you. This goes well beyond physical beauty. The couple words she says, the glory, the majesty, the power she emotes as a person. It's like, Dr. Schultz is just like, I just met you a few seconds ago and I already know I fully understand why Django needed to rescue you. I'd like to end this review with nothing but praise for Kerry Washington's performance. For what I read, she implemented a few method acting techniques, like being actually hit, spending real time in the hot box. Her power to convey emotion in this movie is pure poetry. The moment we see her,
they call me Hildy.
ladies and gentlemen, how much more can she give us with one single phrase in one single frame? Her voice, her eyes, how she nods her head. It tells so much about the character. How sweet she is, how gorgeous she is, playful, funny, humble, strong, hopeful. Everything that is worth saving in a human being is depicted by Kerry Washington right here. She is perfect. This movie is perfect. To everyone involved in the making of this movie, thanks for one of the greatest gifts that cinema has given me. This is the Silver Motion. Guys, thank you so much for your support. I will see you on the next one.